Hello and welcome to Barre. This is a mixture of ballet, Pilates and other fitness elements, and it's going to work best today if you are in socks or in bare feet. And for today you do not need any extra props, so a prop-free day. All you will need is yourself and something that you can use as a bar. So back of a chair I'm using today, edge of a table as long as it's not too high, too low. A wall if all else fails, just something you can exert a little bit of pressure on just to help you with balance in certain exercises. But we don't need it for every exercise. This first warm-up exercise you can do either face on to your bar, two hands on, or you can just be completely freestanding, which I'm going to be because it's a bit easier for you to see it through the camera. So coming into your space with or without bar, we're going to start with an exercise with a bit of movement for our upper body. There's a little bit of plie work if you want it there, but it's mostly for the top of the body. And we're going to do it today. We have done it before. We usually do all of the movements on one side and all the movements on the other. And today, just to mix it up, we're going to be switching between for everything. So you'll see what I mean as we go along. It's one that's easy to follow along with. Let's give it a go. So coming into your space, we're going to take a little lift of the chest and release. Take that again, breathe it in and let it go. Take a little curve of the spine, just round it over. You can have your hands onto your bar for that as well. And once again, a little rounding. We're going to start by reaching one arm across the body slightly and then pulling it back through the elbow. Two of them nice and slow. I'm trying to keep my pelvis facing to the front. Then we pick up the pace a little bit on that. So reaching through the fingers, reaching through the elbow. And the gaze can just follow a little bit, nothing too much through the neck. Same thing with the other arm. Slow it back down to two. Have a little softness in the knees. Make sure they're not locking in place. Fall back up. Reach. Start to deepen the breathing. Drawing the air in through the nose and out through the mouth. We're going to take the same thing again with the first arm, but it's going to reach all the way to open. And you can look towards the fingertips as long as it's not too much through the neck. I'm actually looking sort of just over to that wall somewhere. And I'm feeling that rotation in the top of the spine. So it's always too slow, fall fast. Same thing again. Actually, we've got a little bit of music here. Then it's going to count. We've got too slow. And put it back and open it out. Same thing again. So reaching diagonally across, slightly diagonally back. Four of them, a little faster. And again, you could have your bar, you could have your second hand just onto your bar for assistance. We're going to take a little curving action and then up and over. That can be done with a bent leg as well. And reach away and all faster. Try and match it in with breathing. Exhale, inhale. We're going to switch that to the other side. Curve it over and reach up and away. Big loft. And reach away. We're going to do that 4 times faster. Again, you can bend the knees if you want to. You don't have to, but if it feels comfortable. Just bring the arm down to a rest for a moment. We're going to continue on into a side bend with that same exercise. We're going to come back to that first side. And it's going to come up and over side bend. Take a nice deep breath. Let it go. Reaching up and over. Reaching up and away. Same thing again. Slow it down. Feeling that stacking of the spine in between. 4 times faster. That can be with bent knees as well if you want to. You've got one more on that side. Switch it over. Slow it down. Thinking about sternum, pubic bone facing to the front. Nose as well, facing directly forwards. Up and over. And 3. It's 2. You've got last one. We're going to take a big reach up for the sky. And circle the wrists as the arms come down. We'll do that once again. 2 bent knees, reaching up for the ceiling. And circle it down. We're going to keep that circling action going. Lift a heel, lift a heel. Little pad through the feet. Just warming up onto the underside of the foot. And we can take that back the other way. Make those pads a little faster now. Coordinate the hands as you will. However your brain tells you to do, absolutely fine. We're going to lose the hands. We're going to make that pad a little more springy. So we're thinking about the lift underneath the foot. 2 feet operating at the same time now. So as you're going down, you're also going up. And we've got that lift through the top of the spine, through the top of the head. Reach the arms up once again. We're going to plant the feet. We're going to reach down. We're going to roll down through the spine. Soften the knees, gently curve over. Hang there for a moment. Take a little wiggle around. Shoulders, head, the spine once again, wide through the collarbones. And we're going to move to our bar, or move our bar to ourselves. I'm going to be on this slightly side-on angle to you today. And I'm going to be in a first position, and that is your smiley toes. We always like to call it a smiley toes. It is in the own natural alignment of your hip socket, allowing that rotation in the leg. So my knee tracks out over the line of my foot, over the centre of my foot. What you don't want is that the feet are facing completely out to the side and the knee rolls forward. No, no, no. We want to have the knee and the foot in the same alignment. It's nice and planted, it's nice and square, it's a safe working range. And we're going to move that up towards our bar. We're going to start with some rotations through the hip and through the leg, and then we're going to add in some pliés, maybe some pulses in the pliés. I'm saying maybe, it's going to be there. Then we're going to take some rises onto 2 feet now, and then from our rises we're going to take some pliés on the balls of the feet. So all of that's going to happen, I'm going to talk you through it. We're going to start with those shifting through the heels. So we're going to shift open and close, and again, I've just noticed that I'm already halfway through that music. So you're going to keep shifting, and I'm going to skip it back. And you're going to keep shifting heels open and back and open and back. And we're thinking about lifting through the spine, so we're lifting the rib cage out of the pelvis. And we're thinking about that lift coming right up onto the butt cheeks. Little pins under your butt cheeks. Whoop, want to lift the butt over the top of them. We're going to leave the heels in their first position and take some pliés. So we're going to sink down for 2, up for 2, down for 2, and up for 2. Keep the toes pressing out into the floor. You've got 4 more of those. Down through the heel of the foot. So you don't want to go so low that the heel peels away. The whole foot is down. You've got some little pulses down there on the next one. Little pulses, spongy through the knees. I'm always talking about spongy knees. This is a great place to also think about that gentle lift between the sit bones. Pelvic floor engagement from underneath. Gently lifting like pulling a tissue out of the box. Very soft. We're going to make that our last one, and lengthen the legs. We're going to take some rises. Up for 2. And down for 2, up for 2. Just 4 of these. Does not have to go too high. Can be a nice low rise, that's fine. Let's try them a little faster. Again, be a small range. If you are happy with a larger range, as long as it's not going to obstruct anything in the ankle joint. We're going to leave it up, take a plié, reach up, take a plié, reach it up. So again, really important that the knees are reaching out over the centre of the foot. You want a nice stable joint. And you want pressure down through the toes. And if you want to, you can release the heel slightly. It does not have to be too high. We can make that a little pulse. I was going to say faster, but I really mean a pulse. Little pulses down. Just thinking about that knee tracking through that line of the foot. Wide through the collarbones, wide through the shoulders. I think we've got 4 more to go. It's 4. It's 3. Last 2. Final 1. Press the heels down, stretch up through the legs. We're going to move that into an exercise that I tend to call a glissé, even though it doesn't really look like a glissé. A glissé action is that same as a tonju, but it's got so much effort, so much dynamic power that it comes just slightly off the floor. It's very small. But what's important about glissés is the closing of the inside thighs together as well as the action of the foot going away. So it doesn't want to slam into the other leg. That's what we're really working on. It's that inside thigh connection and that squeeze, that engagement, that strength that's going to allow you that nice strong solid position. So that's what we're focusing on with a flex foot. And our pattern is going to be that we are going to close our foot in front, behind, in front, behind, in front 5 times. We're going to drop into a little demi-second just out to the sides. It's not a deep plie, it's just a little plie. And then we're going to stretch it up, and then we're going to drop it down again. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. So you notice I've moved from side to side. So you can do this up and down your bar, down, up, down, and up and down your bar. The reason I'm moving side to side is that there is then no bar in front of me to obstruct your vision. So choosing your apparatus, can move up and down the mantelpiece, whatever you've got. So it's going to be closing front. Just think of your inside thigh squeezing so that your foot comes to the middle of the other foot. And the same thing to the back, 5 times. Closing in front, little drop down, just reaching up, drop it down, transfer. So you've got to transfer and squeeze at the same time. Starting in front for the first few, we might sometimes close behind, and we might sometimes take it onto a rise. Yeah? That's better if you've got something to hang on to in the middle, if you're moving up and down a bar, or up and down your mantelpiece, for example. If you're feeling a bit precarious in the middle with nothing to hold on to, don't worry, you just take that stretch of the knees and then the transfer as usual. I've talked for a while, let's give it a go. So taking yourself side onto your bar, finding a nice first position, we are going to close the outside leg or one of the legs in front first. Here we go, on a 5. So we've got 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take it out and stretch and bend to the other side. So it's pretty nippy in terms of that transfer across over to the side. Try not to lean too much into your bar. Just close. 2, 3. Think growing taller as you change. Up, down, up, down and up. That moment there. And so with that, we're thinking about that inside thigh squeeze. Every time they sort of almost bounce off each other. It's like a little break. Let's try some closing to the back. So back, 2, 3, 4, 5. Same action, stretch and down to the back. Just shifting the hands along the bar or from place to place, depending where you're going. One more time to the back. We're going to move it back to the front. And if you want to, we could add in that stretch of the toes, sorry, the stretch of the legs. Ooh, that was a bad one. Let me do that again. Down, up, down. Here we go. It's just going to count. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Down, reach, down and over. And you don't have to do that if you don't want to. You can just leave the heels down. We're going to do one more either side with the foot in front. 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to go to the back again. Now, you don't have to do the raise of the heels. You can go back to just the stretch of the legs. One more to either side. Last one, I promise. And down. It's up. It's down. It's final time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rest. Shake off the legs. Well done. Good, good, good. Take a breather for a second as we come into our next exercise. This one does not need a bar. You can move up and down the bar for your squats if you want to, but it's very likely you won't need to. We are going to take a squat position. So my feet are just going to go on to the outside of the hips. Your hips are not this big. Don't be thinking they are. Find your hips. Just pop the feet down underneath them. And then we've got our squat position, thinking about that bend in the shins, bend in the shins, bend in the knees, the alignment of the shins, the alignment of the body, sitting down on your invisible chair, and then coming up again. Don't be tempted to thrust the pelvis forward. It doesn't necessarily engage the glutes. You've got to think about wrapping the glutes inwards and just growing taller through the spine. So we're finding that neutral spine in between. We've got some squats. We've got some squat taps. You could do this with a bent leg, or you could do this with a straight leg. The aims, several aims. One, not to let the knee drop in, keep that open over the centre of the foot. This leg is parallel, it's only just coming off the floor, working into the side of the leg. You can do that with a band around the legs. You don't have to, it's prop free down. We'll do those on both sides. In between these, we're going to be doing some movements through the body. We'll get to that. And then the final set for our squats is some squat walks. And again, you can do this with a band if you wanted to use that today. 2 or 3 up and down, try and keep it even either way. I'm going to start in the middle. I'm going to start with those squats. I'm just going to take my hands into any comfortable position. I find this nice and solid, in line with the sternum, easy through the elbows, easy through the collarbones and shoulders. In fact, I'm going to skip that back and let's give it a go. There we go. Taking a breath in, sinking it down and up. So we've got bend the knees, press the feet, bend the knees, press the feet. You can do this with the hands on the hips, absolutely fine. You can place the hands on the head, anywhere you want them really. Whatever's going to make the job nice and solid for you. Nicely placed, finding that neutral spine, finding that lengthening of the legs in between. Let's go for 4 more. Gentle lift between the sit bones. Parallel lines through the knees, tracking straight forwards over the feet. Place the hands on the head, rotate the top of the spine, gently come back to the center. Go the other way. You can take that smooth 2-way breathing pattern. Exhale to rotate, inhale to come back. Same thing again. Let's try opening the arms out. So we're just carrying big big invisible beach ball around with us. Move slightly forwards and rotate. So make sure it's not coming from the arms or the neck, it's the torso. Pelvis staying still, sternum leading around. We're going to come back, we're going to sink it down. We've got some taps. So taking one foot out to the side, bent knee or straight leg. We've got little taps up and down. So there is a sustained hold on that supporting leg. Woo-hoo-hoo. In that squat position. That's roughly about 8. Let's do 8 more. Think about reaching away through that leg. Trying not to lift through the hip. Trying to stay long in the spine. I think that's enough. Shift across. Stretch the other leg out. Bent or straight. Here we go again. 16 of these. Now trying not to let that knee drop in. That's a fight for me too. Trying to keep it over the center of the foot. Not letting it slide inwards. I think we've got 8 to go. Ooh, add a little wobble there. Last 4, I promise. That's going to take us back into our spinal rotation. Shift back to the center. Stretch the legs, arms out to the side. We're going to take an elbow pull as we rotate. Stretch it out as you come back. Still on an exhale. Inhale to return. So nice and smooth for this one. Think about someone's trying to pull your elbow backwards, but you're trying to stay stacked over your own 2 feet. Head over chest, chest over pelvis. Even as you're rotating. We've got one more to either side. Smoothly coming back. You know what the last one is? We've got some squat walks. I know the music is finished. Don't worry. There. No, there's not more. Oh, I thought I planned 2 of those. Here we go. Squat walks. It's going to happen. Drop the knees down. Choose your position. We've got however many you're doing to the side, however many you're doing back the other way. So just shifting across. Try and stay down on the same height as you go. Are you still wide through the collarbones? Are you still lifted through the pelvic floor? Is your TVA corset muscle still wrapping around the waist? We're going to go for 8 more. Whichever way you're doing it. Last 4 to go. Last 2. Final action. We're going to place the hands back on the head. We're going to rotate the spine. We're going to drop the gaze and curve the body up and over. Unroll that. Come back to the middle. If you're someone that's happy, just breathe at their own rate. That's great. If you'd like to be given some breathing guidance, breathing in as you rotate. Exhale, curve it up and over. Look down towards your foot. Inhale, unroll. Exhale, return. So it's a modified version of the Pilates saw. Exhale, up and over. Inhale to restack. Exhale, return. Once again, the other side. Turn it around, up and over. If that's a little too easy and you'd like a little more challenge, take 2 arms up. Reach them away from you. Bring them back. Try not to sway the pelvis out. Try and leave it nice and still in the middle, and you're reaching up and over that leg. We've got 1 more to either side. Reaching up and away on that diagonal line. We were thinking about those diagonal lines right back in the warm-up. Similar feeling here. Reaching up and away. Give this invisible box to someone over there. Box. And back we go. And release. Have a little wiggle of the shoulders. Little wiggle of the body. Little wiggle of the legs. Whatever you need, little swing around. We're going to come into, check my book. Oh, it's our squat and kick glutes. Last week we did our squat and kick exercise, but we did not finish it. I ran out of time, so we just did the first half, which was this action here where we're abducting the leg, very similar to what we've been doing in our squats. So we're not going to repeat that. We're going to do the last bit instead, which is focusing more on your glute hamstring down the back of the leg, down a bit of the sides, a bit of the front as well from those squats, going into the back of the leg. So I'm going to take this position because it's appropriate to my height and the height of my bar. Where I'm going to place my forearms, doesn't matter what I really do with my hands, as long as that line through the wrist is nice and supported. And I've got a lengthened neutral spine, so I don't want to sink here. I'm really thinking about sit bones aiming one way, top of the head reaching the other. And I'm trying, she says, to get over that bar, so I'm nice and stacked there. And I'm going to take the feet together, and then I'm going to take one leg away, and that one's going to come into the air. That one's going to be doing some movements. I'll describe them to you as we go. You've got 8 of everything. That's nice and easy to remember. So you're going to start with 8 pulses with a lengthened leg and a flexed foot. So finding your bar, you could be hands-on if it's lower. Okay? If you're on the wall, you could be just perhaps finding the angle that is suitable for you to allow that leg to lift behind you. So have a little experiment. See where you can get that feels comfortable, but a working position. It might be like this, on the back of the chair, elbows on. So I'm going to take one leg away, I'm going to reach it away from us. We've got our pulses with our flexed foot, 8 of them. Little squeezes into the glute. Nice deep breathing as you go. You've got 8 pulses with a pointed foot, keep it going. This is going to come into 8 hamstring curls with this same leg. Here we go. They're fairly slow, in and out. So nothing's too fast. Trying to track parallel as you go. You've got 4 more of those. Keep it going. Try and find length down the spine, from the base of the skull to the tailbone. Next, it's going to be some pulses from that curled up position. You can take a pointed foot. And we're going to squeeze the glute every time. You've got 4 more before we go into some attitudes, where we're rotating the leg in the hip socket. 3, it's 2, it's 1, it's going to open and close. So we're back to that slower pace. You've got 4 more of these now. Opening down. Try not to lock into that supporting leg, just drawing up through that thigh bone. We've got pulses to finish. 8, 7, 6, nearly there. Try and stay stacked and even on both sides of the body. Release that leg. Release the legs. And unroll. We'll give it a little stretch out in a second. Let's crack on into the second side straight away. I'm going to skip the music back and we're going to continue on. So once again, finding your appropriate position. Hands, could be hands onto the bar, could be hands as long as it's feeling supported. If it's feeling a little precarious in the shoulder joint, try and get over. So you've got this nice, as much as you can, vertical line through the upper arm. 2 feet together, reach one back. Hopefully the one you've not used yet. We've got our pulses. 8, 7, 6. Keep lengthening back through the heel, drawing up the thigh of the supporting leg. It's into pointed foot. Toes reaching back behind you, head reaching forwards. We're going to come into our flexion extension, bending the knee. 8 of these. So you've got 4 more to go. It's a flex foot as the heel comes towards the bum. Pointed foot as the toes reach away. Try not to let the legs sink, but don't achieve that from your back. So we've got pulses now. Making sure that pulse is coming from the glute muscle and not from your hips swinging. Let's go for just a few more of these. I feel like we could use that. We're going to be opening the knee out to the side in our attitude position. Here we go. It's going to open out and down. Out for 2, down for 2. Wide through those shoulders. Downward pressure onto your bar. 4 to go. Breathing wide into the rib cage. TVA wrapping so the belly isn't dropping to the floor. 8 pulses to finish. 7, 6, nearly there. Feel those glutes and know that they are working, and release. Woo-hoo-hoo. Step down, release your body, raise your arms, release your legs, whatever you need. We've got 1 more standing we have, so we're going to stay standing. We're going to cross into that little figure 4 position. We're going to sit on our invisible chair. Now remember, there is the option of the supine version of that. We are laying onto your back and bringing this same shape into effect. So really this would be a sort of tabletop leg, and then this one is just closing towards the body. So that is available too. It's on last week's video, but if you weren't here last week, it's fine. You can do it again later in this session. So we've got sitting into the glutes. Ooh, feel that stretch, that space. And breathe into that. So we have 1 more standing here. It's been a lot of leg work. It's been a lot of leg work. This is also a little bit heavy. Now, you can do this with or without your bar. I'm going to take a little pause here. So you can do this with or without your bar. It's another one a bit like the glisse exercise, where you're going to be moving slightly. Just slightly. You're going to turn away from your bar at one point. So you could do this with 2 hands onto the bar. Depending on what you've got, if you've got a chair, we're going to be doing some movements with the legs. You might need to just avoid the legs of the chair. Sometimes close things closer to your own body. Or you can do this without. If you are confident with your balance, go for it. If you're not so confident, don't feel that that has to be the challenge. The challenge is it's an adage exercise, or slow moving, slow extended, filling the space, filling the lines exercise. It doesn't have to be purely about balance. And balance doesn't always just mean standing on one leg and not holding on to anything. Balance is also about the alignment through the spine and through the body. So if that means your alignment is better with the assistance of a bar, absolutely go for that bar. It's a bar class. So either with bar in front of you or standing onto your own 2 feet and just holding a first position. So think hugging a big beach ball just in front of your tummy. Try not to get it too high or too low. Just think belly button height. Hugging your big beach ball. We're going to start by peeling one foot away to the ankle. It's going to stay there for 8 counts. You can take the 8 counts to move it there. It's entirely up to you. You can do that throughout the exercise. Then we're going to extend that leg forwards in front of us. That may have gone off the screen slightly, so I'm just going to shift that back. And what's happening there is I'm just taking my leg straight forwards. You've got 8 counts to get there. You've got 8 counts to open arms and leg to the side. Still standing on that one leg. I'm going to move forward slightly again. From there we're going to shift. We're going to shift on the supporting leg, rotating the pelvis to face what is now the side of your movement space. I've still got a turned out supporting leg, and this other one is still lifted behind me. Doesn't have to be high. From here, we're going to bend that knee into the attitude design that we just found when we were doing those pulses. We're going to come back into our first position, and we're going to pivot all the way around. A little shift around again. You can use bar, you can use anything you need. We're going to come back into that standing leg, close that to retire. It can be low, can be low, can be high. And then we're going to take, last of all, a little rise and down. I'm going to start the whole thing on the other side. So you've got to the ankle, to the front, to the side. This is your leg. You turn away from it. And so you've got a supported leg turned out. This back leg is turned out. We're trying to work in that first position right from the pliés onwards today. Turned out. Then it bends into that attitude position. We turn all the way around. It comes to the back of the ankle or the knee. Little rise if you can. You can hold onto the bar, something around you as long as it's not behind you. Little rise and down. That's it. Let's give it a go. Here's the music. So, 2 hands on or 2 hands off. I'm going to start my other leg just to try and work as evenly as possible. So I'm going to be picking up my foot to the ankle to begin. First position. So I'm going to peel it up. 2, 3, 4. So it's not that slow. And I'm going to unfold that leg to the front. And you can take the whole time to unfold, or you can just get it there and hold it there. We're going to take it to the side. And again, think growing, taking space. We're going to rotate on that standing leg. That other one comes in behind you. We're going to close all of that in, close the arms and close the leg. And keep turning yourself around. Little pivoting on the spot, come all the way back around to the front. Close the knee, close the foot to the knee or to the ankle. You're going to take a little rise on that supporting foot. Ooh, she says. If you lose your balance, try it again. Come smoothly down. Close yourself together. Let's do the other side. Last time. Here we go. Foot to the ankle. 5 and 6 and 7 and foot to the front. Oh no, sorry. Arms stay together. They're going to open with the leg. As we open through, just keep taking space. It does not have to be high. Try and keep that pelvis level. Pelvis rotates. So we're standing on a turned out leg. 2 arms out. We're going to close it in and rotate on the ball of the foot. As we go around, come all the way back to the front. Close it into the knee, to the ankle. Doesn't matter. Growing tall. Try a little rise. Woohoo! Not my favourite side. Give it another go. Maybe 2 or 3. Still building the strength in the ankle. Last one. Whee! And release. Take a little bend of the knees. Have a little swing through the hips. We're going to be going down into the floor. Take a reach up. Take a paw down. So move yourself into some space. Need a little bit of room for this one. It's a bit leggy again. Oh, it's been a bit of a leg day, isn't it? I suppose it's a bar, isn't it? There's a lot of leg in the bar. And we're going to come all the way down into a supine position. That's lovely, isn't it? That feels nice and chill. Don't worry, you're not staying there. We're going to come into our imprinted spine, that mini contraction between the ribs and hips. We're going to float one leg to tabletop. We're going to float the other one up to meet it. Incidentally, while we're here, this was that stretch I was talking about earlier when we're in a supine position. And if you want that, you have a little stretch now. we're going to go into some movements through the legs. There's going to be some wrapping of the glutes. So imprint tabletop, hands to the outside of the shins. If you're flexing up in the top of the body, we're going to breathe in to nod the chin and breathe out to flex up. We're going to take one leg towards us and one away. Yes, I can just about fit it in. So reach and reach. Think about reaching in line with the sit bone underneath. Now if that's a little tricky, bring the leg all the way in towards the chest. That might be a little more accessible. It's a little more in the hip flexor, but maybe a little easier in the abdominals. If you want more abdominal challenge, take that knee just to tabletop. We've got a few more of these to go. If you want more challenge still, take the arms nice and low. More challenge still, hands behind the head. You've got 4 to go, last 4. It's 3, last 2. And 1, knees back to tabletop, release the head and shoulders, release the feet. Release the spine and pelvis back into their neutral S-shaped position. So not imprinting, not that mini contraction, but just normal S-shaped spine, wrapping the TVA around. We're going to take some oblique twists. Now this one's a little tricky to get through the camera. I'm really going to describe it as best I can. We're going to take a breath in and nod the chin. We're going to exhale to flex and rotate. We're going to inhale and reach the arm away. So I've rotated to my right. My left arm's open the opposite direction. It comes back in behind my head. I release. So I'm going to exhale to rotate. I inhale, reach the arm the other way. Bring it back in. Bring it smoothly down. That speed to start. Breathe it in. And down. Try not to let the knees and pelvis rotate with you. So there, just trying to look straight to the ceiling as you turn. One more to either side at that speed. Keep that breathing nice and wide. Keep that arm nice and wide as well. Last one at that speed. Reaching open away. It adds resistance to the turn. Now we can speed that up. You don't have to. If you prefer it at that speed, nice easy breathing, go for it. Otherwise, a little faster. We've got. Keep breathing as you go. Try not to hold your breath. If you don't like it, slow it down. And if you wanted a little more challenge added onto that, you could add in your imprint tabletop once again. So maintaining that position through the legs. And the same thing. You can do that with a slower pace as well, that's fine. Make sure the head is supported by the hands. So you're not building any tension into the neck. The neck should be nice and free, guided by the hand. Neck flexors assisting as you rotate. One more. I promise, last one. Return the head and body, return the legs to the chest for a moment. Have a little breather. We've got some scissors to finish off today. Some scissors, scissoring action through the leg. One reaching towards you and one reaching away. We'll go for a parallel position because we've worked a lot in turnout today. So let's work in parallel just to switch it up. So coming back into your imprint tabletop. Hands to the outside of the shins. Breathe into another chin if you're flexing. Exhale, flex up, shins up, one towards you, one away. Now you'll notice it's reach further, so there's 2 actions. That can be one smooth exhale, or whatever's going to help you to get that 2 action, that reach further. So it's not a bounce, it's a reach and a reach further. And if you wanted more challenge, arms lengthened, make sure you're not depressing in the shoulders as I just was. Keep wide through the collarbones. And as before, a little more challenge again, hands behind the head. Keep those abdominals working, glutes squeezing underneath. You've got 4 to go. Last 2, nearly there. Legs up, release the head and shoulders down to the floor. Did I mention we're going to do some lift and lower through the legs? We'll do a few. Just lowering through diagonal, lifting slowly back up. Or we're going to run out of music. So I guess you've just got one more after this. Last one. You could flex the feet if you wanted, just for a little more length down the back of the hamstring. And pointed toes to the sky. Release the legs into the chest. Have a little roll from side to side. We are going to come into a seated position. We're going to take a very gentle side bend to finish off now. So crossing the legs as is comfortable, wide through the collarbones, wide through the shoulders. We're going to reach up and over side bend. Take it back again. Same thing to the other side. Up and over side bend. And back. And you can do this with the knees to the sky, feet dropping into the floor. Just make sure the knees don't sneak off in the other direction. They want to stay straight up to the ceiling as you move. Let's take that again. Up and over. Moving at your own pace. I'm not really moving with the music now. I'm just following my own breathing. Let's go for a little circle around. Curve the spine forwards. Take the hands with you. Round you go. One more back the other way. Breathe it in. Exhale. Come around to an all fours position. If you wanted a little cat stretch here, you are more than welcome. Otherwise, coming into little crouch. Heels are going to drop down to the floor. We're going to unroll through the spine and reset. One boat at a time, lifting the head back on top last of all. And we are done there for today. Thank you very much.